Dad.
You're not my real dad. Quit telling me what to do. Anyways, guys, Hasbro is doing greedy Hasbro things, and they are trying to make it so we can't play our favorite games.
Well,
Bull.
It's Hasbro. It's Hasborg. You will be
Bull.
assimilated. You will be assimilated.
You will be assimilated.
Or you'll have your ass laminated.
You will love the G.I. Joe because we put The Rock in it. Nope, not even The Rock could save that franchise.
All right, so what's going on? It's all over the news. It's all over like the gaming
sphere,
like the tabletop.
And we are gaming news, so that's why we're bringing it to your attention, Twitch universe.
As we're looking at it, Hasbro in a leaked document.
That would never happen.
IO9.
You know what happened?
What?
Do you know how that got leaked?
Somebody was like,
no, they didn't use ExpressVPN.
Somebody said this is bullshit, and they decided to let everybody know what was in the pipe. But no, because from IO9, they analyzed the document that leaked and found it to be genuine, but it completely gets rid of and invalidates the old gaming license, the open gaming license. That is the foundation for like Cobalt Press, Green Ronin, Paizo. Like Paizo was built on the open gaming license, and now that is been pulled.
Right. And so for anybody who might be questioning what we're referring to, I had some questions about it myself, and there's just a litany of things that I see wrong with this. We'll get into more detail here in a second, just to clarify for everybody. Topher specifically referring to the gaming license that incorporates the D20 dice system. So empires, like Star Wars Empires, our Galactic Empires, there's, Mutants and Masterminds, games like that, and Pathfinder, which specifically is licensed by Paizo. Those games are under threat now from Hasbro to basically pull their licenses to run these games. Essentially, what'd you say, if they make over $750,000 a year?
Yeah, they now has royalties.
They have to pay royalties.
Polygon says it right here. IO9's analysis of the document says that it invalidates the previous open gaming license, the framework that lets other companies and creators use versions of D&D's widely played rules, if not its IP, and deems that previous agreement invalid, meaning
no matter what was said before. See,
even though the open gaming license says perpetual worldwide use.
Right. And I've demonstrated this.
Perpetual.
I don't see, I know people are up in a panic right now, and people are upset about it, and I can understand why, because
most of the people upset about it is the people that are making money off of the
they're making a crap load of games, and they're making a crap load of money. Like, I would be upset too. Like, you're talking about, if this works, if this goes all the way through, you're talking about game creators, content creators that have been using this license for decades, potentially having to pay millions and tens of millions of dollars in royalties, and potentially back royalties for the years that they've been using this license. That is unconscionable, one, from Hasbro, because it doesn't just eliminate these games from the market. Potentially it creates an entire foundation of what's a good word for it? Retroactive punishment.
This literally is
punitive. That's it. Retroactive punitive damage.
This literally is what everybody's going after Microsoft for.
Are we back on this? We're gonna talk about this again.
Well, no, but I'm saying, like, we've talked about it for the last 3 shows, but this is a literal example of one company making a unilateral decision and knocking companies completely out of the sphere.
Yeah.
Like Cobalt Press, with 3.5, they did a lot of the priest handbooks and warrior handbooks.
I feel like that's a false equivalence. The only reason I'm going to say that is this. They're not going after Microsoft for potentially, like, taking these games and making them exclusive, okay? If moving forward, Hasbro was like, you guys can't use this system anymore. You can make no more games using the system that we own. And that was ultimately what was decided upon to do. I feel like that's a horrific business decision. And on top of that, it basically serves zero purpose, because it's just going to knock a crap load of people out of the gaming sphere. And it's going to cost them thousands, hundreds of thousands of fans that are not going to They are
Take
not
this
going to
back.
keep. I thought I had mine on silent. I always do. So this time that one's on me, guys. But it essentially takes those licenses and makes them invalid. Fine, they can't make any more games. But this appears to be going beyond that.
Yeah, it says the old.
It's beyond that. So that
Yeah,
would be like punishing Microsoft for holding an IP that Sony has acquired now, and then punish. Actually, here, this is kind of reverse a little bit. That'd be like Microsoft going after Sony for releasing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 15 years ago and saying, because that's on your system, you have to pay us money. Yeah. That's what's happening.
So
that's ridiculous.
It says last month, Wizard said that the OGL needs an update.
Open gaming license for anybody who doesn't like acronyms.
Needs an update to ensure that it keeps doing what it was intended to do, which is allow the D&D community's independent creators to build and play and grow the same game we all love, without allowing things like third parties to mint D&D NFTs and large business to exploit our intellectual property. That statement right there screams that they are still pissed off at Paizo for taking and making Pathfinder off of the OpenGL and becoming what it is, like their main competitor.
Yeah, that's
literally.
That is greed incarnate to me. That is quite literally the definition of greed. Like, capitalism be damned. I'm a capitalist. Make the money where you can make the money. But it's not like Hasbro's hurting. And it's not our fault that they invested in the market and that they tried they tried their hand at other gaming things that just didn't work out for them. And I'm sorry that you put $400 million into a movie that was hot garbage and nobody liked it. That's not my problem. It's not my fault.
I mean, I can agree with stopping the minting of NFTs because NFTs are dumb.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you.
But
especially considering that you can't take an image from the internet and make it an NFT because I can literally right-click and copy it, so it's not unique or original.
But the idea is
it's deleting everything else, and like you can't.
Right.
It's
well, I mean,
stupid.
but like the NFT thing, whatever. The problem is that you could say any fantasy art
is an NFT.
Is D&D art.
Yeah.
So even if I just like fantasy art, they have co-opted an entire genre because they can say, "Oh, well, that's Dungeons and Dragons." Like, no,
right. No, like, no, it's Tolkien. How do you like me now? like, it's a Silmarillion. How do you like me now?
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I said it right. How do you like me now?
That literally means that any fantasy thing is now a target.
Which is ridiculous.
It's D&D. No, it's not.
Like dwarves, elves, freaking ogres, orcs, goblins, all of that has been a part of fictional culture for as long as there has been. Right, there are depictions of dragons on pyramid walls. There are cuneiform depictions of humongous giant men and women and aliens. So this has always been a thing. You can't co-opt an entire mythos. You can't do that. This is why I think
they try.
They're gonna try, but this is why I think generally the mark of good news is I am not a legal expert. Do not take this as legal advice, but my opinion and the way that I view this is there's zero way that this holds. Do I think a smaller court will probably uphold it and say, yes, this is their property, they're allowed to do this? Yep. Do I think initially they'll get away with it? Yes. Do I think it'll go to a higher court and then be struck down based on like bull crap and be like, no, we're dismissing this. This is ridiculous.
Here's the thing is you cannot copyright a system. You cannot copyright a system. So they have no copyright grounds.
Correct.
They have not trademarked any of this stuff.
You can't trademark. First of all, you can't trademark human. So good luck.
Well, no, I'm talking about like the D20 system. None of the D20 system is trademarked.
Right, which is why you have so many games that are based in the Die20 system.
Yeah.
Like, and besides that, like the funniest part about it is if they do this and they get away with it and it is a thing, people are just gonna be like, fine, we're just gonna run off the D10 system. Or we're just going to run off the D21 system.
D10 system is actually owned by Chaosium.
Do they actually have that? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, no, that's what, like, when we start looking through and making and creating stuff, like, it's a minefield, like, as to what you can do and what you can't do and where you can go and where you can't go.
Huh. I didn't realize that the D10 system was like was not the D10 system, but the rules set.
There's an open like an open 6. There's an open D10 that are like similar but not
So ridiculous.
Chaosiums.
Like I said, I don't believe that. I think this will just be thrown off on its grounds. Like I don't believe for a freaking minute that this will hold any water in any legitimate court. It just can't. There's no copyright claim. A. There's no trademark claim. B. What are you going to do? Like, Pathfinder is literally called Pathfinder. It actually operates under a different set of rules. The feats aren't even the same.
Well, now,
like, mechanically, they were similar to 3.5, but they were different enough that it was in fact a different game. And anybody who's played them will tell you that.
Right, but the thing with Pathfinder is it still on the front of the book has to have the open gaming license statement because of what it did use from the thing. So so they themselves have said that they have operated under that system that said perpetual, worldwide, exclusive right to do so.
But that's what I'm saying is, I don't necessarily feel like, I feel like even if they were to shut it down, I'm not sure that they'd hold the claim because, like you said, you can't copyright the system. And they might be able to get away with saying that it falls under that 90% copyright rule where it has to be a certain percentage of the material was copied. But it, like, even Pathfinder to D&D, just like the standard Pathfinder 1.0, is dramatically different. I don't think there is so much content, I don't think it would accumulate 90%. The only claim that they could make would be that they had to change their artwork or something like that. Like, they might be able to claim the artwork.
No, the thing is if you the way that the thing was worded, and here's where it's catchy.
Some of the monsters actually look like monsters from D&D. That's what I mean. Like, the
What I'm
pictures of the
saying is-
Beholder are literally the pictures of the Beholder from D&D.
But here's the thing: is in the agreement, it says you have to put this on anything that's that you use the OpenGL for.
Right.
By having that on there, they have pretty much said they use the OpenGL. Now that it's invalid, that invalidates their whole work because they acknowledged that they used the OpenGL in their work.
So they might have, if this were to hold up, they might have screwed themselves by putting that in there. Like, if they would have never said anything.
Well, they would have got sued right off the bat.
Well, they might have been sued, but they could have just claimed, "Oh, this falls under the OpenGL and you can't sue us."
Other than the OpenGL stated that you have to have that included in the.
Oh, it does actually say. Oh, okay. I didn't realize the OpenGL said you had to say that. Okay.
So
so they had to. All right.
The OpenGL 1.0 was developed and refined in the leadership, or in the lead up to D&D's 3rd edition. It was part of the legal framework by which creators have been allowed to profit from work derived from Wizards' intellectual property. December, Wizards said to be updating it with increased specificity that will allow written content and static digital files like PDFs, and that creators would be required to report related earnings back to Wizards on an annual basis. Which means if I make $5, if I have a little thing and I only make $5, I have to tell them that I made $5 because I made an adventure that could be set in the OpenGL, and I might,
so they are already getting a little.
Yeah. Furthermore, the creators
invasive.
are making more than 750,000 annually from these products would eventually be required to pay a royalty back to Wizards. Critical Role. All of their stuff, once this move is over,
I mean,
is literally gutted.
I don't really have anything against Matt Mercer, but it would be a little funny to see somebody pay for basically profiting off of something that thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people do weekly.
Right.
So,
I mean, but the gaming
good on them for having the idea to put it online, but
well, no, they've done more than just put it online.
I know he's written entire modules. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
They've taken all of that stuff and moved it into the next level. which
wouldn't have been possible had he not become famous for doing exactly what hundreds of thousands
right.
of people do every week. That's what I was
I mean,
driving at.
but he was
Not the modules. The modules I read them. They're decent.
yeah. Well, Wildmount. I mean, he went through D&D to make Wildmount,
Yeah, they're nice.
but like a lot of the stuff is. So what it says.
Listen, I don't have anything against the man. I really don't. So I don't think I'm talking trash about him.
I don't really give two shits about. I don't really watch. One of the biggest changes to the document is that it updates the previously available OGL to state that it no longer is an authorized agreement. By ending the original agreement, many licensed publishers will have to completely overhaul their products and distribution in order to comply with the new updated rules. Large publishers who focus almost exclusively on products based from the OGL include Paizo, Cobalt Press, Green Ronin, and more. All of them will be under pressure to update their business model incredibly fast.
Hot trash. I call hot trash.
Green Ronin actually says that they no longer do the open GL stuff for most of the games. They use Age, Adventure Game Engine.
Mm-hmm.
But for like the Expanse, Blue Rose, Modern Age, Cthulhu Awakens, Fantasy Age, 5th season.
So wait, would this hit the Diablo franchise?
No, because that is
different medium.
Yeah.
Okay. Was curious.
But the one that still uses it and still like has a good fan base is Mutants and Masterminds. But that's a separate agreement called M&M. Superlink that lets they have a separate agreement that lets other people create stuff for Masterminds. Green Ronin does. So now you have a game built on an open gaming license that has an open gaming license to make content for their game.
This is gonna get ugly, and I honestly hope it's drawn out for like 20 years. In the meantime, they can just keep making games. That was similar to, by the way, hilariously, Tetris. There are several different cartridge formats of Tetris, and the reason, like Tengen, like there's the Tetris game that was made by Tengen, and the reason that happened, or Tengen, whatever you guys want to call it, I call it Tengen, always have, but it was created that way because Tengen thought they had the license for Tetris, but they never did. So that game was literally mass-produced and marketed, thinking that they had they knew at that point that they had not yet secured the license, but it was like a multi-million-dollar product. They knew it was going to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, they're like,
so Nintendo,
we'll get it.
Nintendo filed a cease and desist. They managed to get the cease and desist stopped, so it didn't work. So in the meantime, until they resolved the court case, Tengen kept producing these games and putting them on shelves. And then by the time that Nintendo got the proper judge to be like, no, what do you guys do? Absolutely not. Stop this. What are you doing? You cannot market this product. By the time that happened, it was too late. They'd sold like 1 million copies. It was nuts. Like, but that's kind of how I see this working is somebody's going to be like, they're going to do it anyway. And then Hasbro's going to be like, no, you got to do this. And they're going to file a motion. And then they're just going to keep on doing what they do. And I hope this gets drawn out for years and years and years. And that Hasbro just has to sit on their hands waiting for the court case to be decided. And they can't.
EN Publishing CEO stated, right now we plan to wait and see what happens. We haven't seen the final document, but we are strong advocates of the open gaming and hope that it will continue. We believe that open gaming is not only beneficial to games we love and allow those games to develop strong third-party support. We've been publishing under the OpenGL for 20 years. And hope to do so for 20 more years, along with the rest of the amazing open gaming community. Here's where it gets a little on the backside of things. Another move feature in this new updated version of the OpenGL. It incentivizes creators who are using the gaming license to create things and crowdsource them. You pay less if you use Kickstarter.
Of course.
Says an online crowdfunding is a new phenomenon since the original OGL was created. The new license attempts to address how and where these fund campaigns can take place. States that if creators are members of the expert tier, if your licensed work is crowdfunded or sold via any platform other than Kickstarter, you will pay 25% royalty.
You know what? Time out 1 second. Dear Hasbro board members, I hope that moving forward in the future, you wake up every night at 1 a.m. craving a glass of water. And as you travel through your home,
in the morning to pee.
and as you travel through your home, barefoot and alone, I hope your pinky toe finds every piece of wooden furniture on your way to the fridge and on the way back. Sincerely, the gaming world. Thank you.
So here's the so it's like if your licensed work is crowdfunded on Kickstarter, our preferred crowdfunding platform, you will only pay 20% on qualifying revenue.
Wow.
Which means if you have a really good idea and like the Ouroboros setting, when it crowdfunded, it made like over $1 million in the crowdfunding. 25% of that would have to go
to
Hasbro, which means the money raised has to be increased because you have to pay another person 25%. So like you make $1 million, $250,000 doesn't go to making materials, doesn't go to paying artists, doesn't go to actually getting it into your hand. It goes to pay somebody else.
And I have this funny feeling a lot of these gaming companies are going to start posting record losses.
Kickstarter has came back and said it has not formally doesn't a partner or whatever. They just said that they had talks with them and had negotiated a better terms for people using Kickstarter. And it's not about any kickbacks to Kickstarter or whatever. It's like Kickstarter actually was like whoa. No.
Yeah, because you're going to cost us money doing this. Like
So
you're going to cost us money.
So if you go to Kickstarter, it's only 20%. So it's only $200,000 off your.
Oh, thank God! Here I thought I was going to have to pay $250,000. They did save me. That's substantial. It is $50,000.
We're talking about those numbers,
but that's still ridiculous.
Game Found, Backer Kit, any of those, like you still have to.
Speaking of which, Rip It, do you know that you do not have to pay 20% of whatever profits you make from our show to Hasbro? If you sponsor our show, I will make sure that Hasbro does not touch our profits. That is my solemn pledge to you guys. Rip It Energy for the wild bearded man in you. Which, out of context, sounds horrible. Let's not do that. All right. Okay, we got so many more things to cover.
Yeah, no, that was literally. They said no. We managed to get a lower percentage, more being discussed. No hidden benefits, no kickbacks to Kickstarter. This is their license, not ours, obviously. Paizo didn't respond, and several other game companies didn't respond at the time. I actually contacted several attorneys and should know more next week. Like actually have
what we'll have to do if stuff pops the way we want it to.
Well, no, like for like what happens if they modify the OpenGL and get rid of all that. What is going to be the fallout? Like from a legal perspective, actually talking to a lawyer and figuring out like what it is that.
All right.
So hopefully they answer my questions. I called today and a lot of them were like, "Who are you with?"